Hey folks, Dude here, and you know, it's one of those situations, it happens all the time on TV, it happens all the time in people's videos, and I can no longer abide by this. I have to step up, and I have to fix something I see as a tremendous, tragic waste of perfectly good, paltry, divined devices. You gotta know how to do the basics, okay? If you don't know how to do the basics, you can't go into the more complex stuff. And I'm going to run through this thing backwards and forwards. I'm going to tell you guys exactly what it takes to do an egg and not kill it, okay? First and foremost, we're going to do some hard-boiled eggs. Very simple, very easy. All you do is you take your pot. You fill it full of cool water. You fill it full of your eggs in proper quantity. You do not crowd them. You must use a large enough pan. You take the pan up to boiling. As soon as it hits boiling, you turn it off. You then take the pan that's full of heated water, heated eggs, you place a cover on board, and you let it sit for 12 minutes. After that 12 minutes has elapsed, you then take that device full of eggs and other goodies and water, and you place it into your sink, and you place the eggs in a colander, and you run cold water over them. That's it. You will get perfect hard-boiled eggs every single trip of the train. Now the kicker is, if you want them more done, you simply let them sit a little longer. If you want them less done, you simply pull them out a little sooner. So as soon as these guys hit boil, I'm going to, turn off the juice, throw the cover on them, 12 minutes, bath time, good times. I'm going to proceed from there. Okay, we haven't reached boiling just yet, but we need some conspicuous product placement. Let's insert product. Oh, this makes everything cook better. Good times. Oh, excuse me 1 second here. Makes everything better. Good times. Okay, we have reached the point of boilage. So here's the steps we will take. We will place a cover on said pot. That's it. Heat goes off. And it goes onto a trivet to hold it in place. So that's it in a nutshell. Let me place this sucker on the trivet over here. And of course my tripod's fighting with me. Stupid tripod. Alright, now that's it in a nutshell. And let's go over here to Mr. Timer. Do cook time. And we wish to go for 12 minutes. Actually, that's wrong. I did the wrong steps here. Timer, 12 minutes. That's it. That's it. Don't mess with your eggs. Step away. Step away. Don't disturb your eggs. Let them do what they need to do in the hot pot. That's it. Bonus cooking! Okay, I gotta wait for my element to kind of cool off a little bit because that sucker was jacked up to max velocity and it was red hot, and that's too hot for my next demonstration. Well, let's just put it on number 5, I think is where I normally go. So about middle point in heat. Okay? Now, the other thing you got to remember, too, whenever you're cooking, I'm going to jack this sucker up so I get the overarching view. Whenever you are cooking, you wish to have a hot pan and cold oil. You never wish to do it the other way around. And I'll show you exactly why. This is why you don't do it the wrong way. Non-stick pan, very slick stuff, and most things just do not stick to this. You can fry cheese in there, you burn cheese in there, you can wipe it off with a paper towel. It just physically does not adhere to the Teflon. Now, I don't want to make this video too terribly long, but I'm going to give you guys kind of the ins and outs of what to do and what not to do. But I'm going to give this sucker about a minute or so to heat up, and I'm not going to put that on camera, so let's just sucker warm up for a minute, and we'll go from there. Alright, it's been about a minute or so. Pan's about, semi-warm, so let me give it a little squirt, see what it does with some water here. Barely boiling, okay? Barely boiling. Normally in that water, you would have that water skipping everywhere, and it would be dancing like crazy if it was up to proper temperature. Let's throw down no oil, and let's have the pan cold. Egg goes in, and of course, let's just really screw this up bad, okay? Let's just mess this up thoroughly. We're taking the egg, we're jacking it around all over the place, and we put it into a cold pan. Now, first thing you got to remember about eggs is they are an exorbitant amount of protein. Notice how long this thing is taking to set up. This pan is too cold. Also notice I blew my yolk. I've done everything wrong with this egg. Absolutely everything. I have ruined this egg. Now the worst part about it is, is it's really not even hot enough to get the egg to come off the pan easily. That's the work. You know what? I'm not even going to use that. I'm going to use a good one. I'm going to use my good squeegee. Now, here's the other thing too. Notice how long it's taken this thing to set up. It is still jiggly as all get out. This is still really, really runny. And the worst part about it is, it's halfway sticking on the Teflon. Okay, that is not a good egg at all. First off, it's not going to taste very good because it has no caramelization on there. It's had no flavor imbued by anything that's in the pan. It's basically just sat in the pan and it's done nothing. Also, the other thing too is it has about the consistency of a pencil eraser. That is not good eats. It's still edible, and also notice how bad this stuff is sticking on the pan. That egg has been, conservatively stating it, abused like a redheaded stepchild. Do not do that to your eggs. Well, let's just do this correctly the next time out. Let's go over here. Let's bump the heat up to about 5. Okay? To about almost 6. So about not even 2/3 heat. And when it warms up a little bit more, I'm going to do it the second time around on how not to abuse your eggs. I'm still going to eat that, but that's not exactly the way it should be. Let's go with the next one. Alright, we're back, and this pan is quite a bit warmer. Let's give it the water spritz again and see what we get. Notice everything is dancing around. That is probably every bit of about 300 some odd degrees, if not just a touch more. That's what you're looking for. Notice the water is also, it's also boiling off. I'm getting evaporation, and that is exactly what I want to see. Now, this time around, because it's a non-stick pan, I can get away without using any grease. It doesn't make that big a difference. But I want to imbue some flavor. Butter. Butter is your absolute best buddy on a pan. Now, here's the thing, too, is there's a wildly close line between hot and too hot. If you go too hot, you're going to burn your butter. If your butter turns brown immediately, take your pan off. Do not cook with that temperature. Your pan is too flipping hot. First thing first, take your pan off. Turn your heat down at least 10%. Alright, now basically my butter is a little brown. Is it too brown? Well, possibly, but I'm going to go with it anyway and see what happens, because the butter I use is actually a blend that has some canola oil on board, so I'm actually making a brown butter. Now, carefully placing our egg. Notice immediately a very different reaction. You know what? I'm feeling cocky. I'm going to do 2 eggs. That's right. I'm going to throw 2 in there. Just because of the flights of fancy and the length and breadth of cockiness I'm feeling right now, I'm going to do 2 eggs. Now, when you have people ordering eggs, of course you have your sunny side up, you have your over easy, and of course you have your various doneness. Now, when you're doing eggs, sunny side up, you're just cooking it, and you get the bottom nicely crispy. I like my eggs like hockey pucks, okay? I like my eggs hard. I've always been like that. Mrs. Dude likes to have a runny yolk. I don't like runny yolk. I just consider it wasted when it gets on the plate. You can't do anything with it. Now, how do you do a sunny side up egg and still get it to cook completely on both sides? Well, you can do something very simple called a little bit of creative cooking. Watch this. You have a lid. It doesn't have to fit perfectly. It just has to cover everybody, okay? You can just throw that on there and it's going to reflect heat. But will it cook it in proper time? Probably not. What you should do, though, is you should use your buddy from time immemorial, steam. Now, this is real time, folks. I'm not going to break off from this one. This sucker's just going to go the way it goes. What's happening there is you have the heat on the bottom. And then you have a convection thing going on because you have this heat circling around now with all this super agitated water vapor that is now blazing on the top of the eggs. Give this sucker about 30 seconds worth and you're going to be surprised at how done these little beggars are and how much they've set up. And of course you also have to have a plate in comparison from the previous... Well, let's just call it a first attempt and be charitable. Okay, they're going. And the thing is, there's so much steam being created, the lid is actually rattling around. But let's take a test peek and see what we get. Is that not pretty or what? Now, let's just do a real quick check here, and I'm going to do a little bit of a fork action. I'm not going to poke the yolks, okay? But my whites are about 70% set up, okay? The bottom is nice and crispy, but it's not burnt. But yet, I've got that lovely brown butter thing going on. Now, here's the beauteous thing. How bad are these guys locked on the pan? Not at all. Not at flippin' all. Now, my yolks are actually rather soft, okay? So I'm going to have to make do with soft yolks. I'll have to make some toast, and of course, I'll have to eat my eggs. But what would you want to eat? Would you want to eat this, or would you want to eat this? And probably, this is just me being me, I like mine a little toasty on the bottom. I don't care. But if you want to not get the excessive brownness, reduce your temperature, take your pan off for about 30 seconds, let it cool down, and we're going to go from there. So, I'm going to salt and pepper this sucker and, scarf it down while I'm waiting for my hard-boiled eggs to have their process therein, and so I'm multitasking. Good times. Well, I am going to eat these, Okay, we have reached the point of, I'm going to freehand this sucker. We have reached the point of end. So that means I now basically got to drain these boogers out and do them in the colander, so give me about a second to get set up on that. Alright folks, if you've ever had the misfortune of getting yourself hosed with not just hot water, but steam, you will truly rue the day you get a steam burn. It is horrible. What you can do is get yourself these silicone guys, and these things are good to 400 degrees. I recommend them wholeheartedly. Here's why. You can take your pan full of boiling water, and you can do all kinds of good stuff with it, and move onward, and move out smartly, do everything you need to do. And you can actually handle this thing without getting hosed with the heat. Now, you can see how much this thing is generating in terms of steam. And normally, if I was handling it like this, I'd be getting fried. So now let me just dump out some water. And I think I had a minor blowout in 1 or 2 eggs. But you know what? They're going to be hard-boiled anyway, so who cares? They're going to be tasty. You're simply going to eat them. You're not going to care if they're a little ugly. And, of course, we're going to give them a little bit of cold shower. Nothing crazy. We're just basically stopping the cooking. Nothing wild and crazy here. We're simply slowing down the process and returning it back to a state of stop. Cessation of cooking and being chilled out. Now, I'm going to do this one step further, and I'm simply just going to return it to the pot and let the pot fill up with cold water and just let it set. Oh no, I may have broken a shell or two. I'm going to peel them anyway. Does it really matter? Nope. So I'm going to let these guys chill out, and I'll crackle these up to see what they look like when we're done. But right now I got some eggages to eat. I'm going to break off on this one. Good times. Alright, here's a slight addendum. Normally, I'm not a person that abides with really soft yolks, but you can see these guys are just dead on runny, perfectly eggy, perfectly yolky. Excuse me, I need to give it a test taste here. And they are doing exactly everything they need to do. Now, I didn't really do this for demonstration purposes. I normally don't like my yolks this runny. I normally like my eggs and my yolks hard. But I was doing a demonstration for you guys, and you saw just how easy that was. Use the steam trick. If you don't have a sprayer, just dump a little water in there, a couple tablespoons of that. That's all it takes, man. It is the simplest thing on the whole world to make these things just come out perfect every trip of the train. The tops come out nice and soft. The bottoms come out crispy. How easy is that? Use the water trick. Throw a lid on there. All it has to do is just cover on top. Doesn't need to be a perfect fit for the frying pan. Just find a lid in your pot selection that kind of fits on it just enough. It doesn't have to be a perfect fit. Good times. Excuse me, I'm egging out here. Good times. Alright, I have finished wolfing down my eggs, and let's give this guy a test peel and see how it goes. First off, peeling, not especially hard. I mean, it's coming off pretty easy. I mean, the membrane's basically loose. And that's usually the thing that's really the biggest problem, is you have the membrane really sticking on there, and then the shell won't come off for nothing. But this is peeling really easily. So I commend this turn it off, let it set trick. I mean, it's just dead nuts easy, and it works. And this is probably one of the easiest hard-boiled egg you will ever make on the planet. Excuse me, slight salting. Oh, I cannot do this without proper seasoning. Oh, pinky extended. Excuse me, folks. Thank you, Father, for all these wonderful things you give us. May He further serve you. In Jesus' name, amen. Good times. Oh. And this is a really good hard-boiled egg. It's soft. It's not gummy. The yolk was nice and creamy. Wasn't chalky. I'm sorry I bit the yolk right in half on that one, but I scarfed it down real quick. But the yolk came out perfect, and the white is nice and springy. It's not rubbery. It's not chewy. I commend this to you. Definitely do that 12-minute trick. You know, put them in cold water. Get them right out of the fridge. Put them in cold water, about 1 inch on top. Water level's all you need. Oh, excuse me. That's all it takes. It takes a big pan. You don't crowd your eggs. Oh, excuse me. Product placement. Good times. And basically you just throw the eggs in the pan. You don't crowd them. Have about 1 inch more water on top. Throw it on the fire. Throw it on your electric stove. Get it to the point of boiling. A good rolling boil. Turn off the juice. Take them. Let them sit 12 minutes. Cold water. You saw the whole thing. Dead nuts easy. So guys, we basically learned how to fry up an egg correctly. You learned how to hard boil an egg correctly. These are basics. If you can't do the basics, you can't do the other stuff. Start with the easy stuff. Move on from there. You'll be cooking like a pro. Good times. All right. Eat good. Keep it a 10 ring. And, well, if you're eating well-done eggs, how can it be good? Cooking videos. Good times. In the new place. Oh, kick ass. All right, folks. Thank you so much for tuning in. And here at the Eeesh Podcast channel, I'm going to say as usual, thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for all your kind subscriptions and all your good contacts and all the good wonderful stuff you do to me, like Facebook and here on YouTube. Thank you so much. See you guys.